look at me. Have a really good, close look. I am Pākehā. I am also Māori. Do you know what else that makes me? A problem. Because it seems there's an expectation in our society that I should choose to identify as either one or the other. The pressure of that expectation is crushing. So, to cope, I pretend that I don't care, when in reality, every day is a balancing act. Me walking the tightrope between my Pākehā-tanga and my Māori-tanga, with an audience even bigger than you, watching my every step and waiting to see where I'll fall. When I walked out onto the stage, I bet it was obvious that I was not full Māori because of my colour, which is true. My physicality suggests that at some point in my family tree, one of my tupuna decided to add a little more cream to their coffee. If you are part Pākehā, raise your hand. Keep your hand up if you identify as Pākehā. Why is that? Why do so many of us struggle to identify as Pākehā when we so proudly and we so staunchly identify as Māori? Our last national census showed that at least 1 in every 10 of New Zealanders identify with more than one ethnic group. From our show of hands, I reckon that number is actually a lot greater. But what stops our people from embracing this is the misconception that it's socially unacceptable to be both Māori and Pākehā at the same time, as if the two are conflicting by nature, as if the two were never meant to mix. As Māori, our land is our provider. Ko papa tuanuku e takoto nei. Unlike Pākehā, we belong to her. But consider this. Papa tuanuku is an integral part of a world much bigger than our tupuna ever imagined, which means Papa tuanuku is not exclusively Māori. We are not the only uri whakaeke with a duty to serve and protect her. So how un-Māori would it be for us to refuse to acknowledge our non-Māori heritage? Judges, teachers, my friends, fellow students, and to you all, our most ardent supporters, my goal is to convince you that it's tika and it's pono for us to face up to the fact that we are a bicultural generation, that we all belong to Papa tuanuku. Why? Because unless you're Orini Kaipara, no one here is full-blooded Māori. And by acknowledging that, is a way to connect with our tupuna. And by connecting with our tupuna, we can better understand ourselves. Which brings me to my first point. If all of us staunch Māori aren't full-blooded Māori, then what are we? Well, according to the stats, from 2001 to 2013, the number of Māori who acknowledged their European descent raised by 8.4%. Now, 8.4% over 12 years reflects the little mana we place in our Pākehā roots. In the words of Paul Meredith, I am simply a half-caste. I am both Māori and Pākehā. I have adopted this label as part of a project of resistance and defiance against those who would seek to reduce me to one or the other. Think about it like this. If you're comfortable saying, let's go, even though the only island you connect to is Hawaii, then what's the harm about learning your great nanny from Scotland? But seriously, why is it so important for Māori to acknowledge their non-Māori heritage? What relevance does this have to Papa tuanuku? Why do they call them apartments if they're so close together? Well, the truth is, we have a generation of bicultural children trapped in the boxes of cultural restriction we have drawn out for them. This false sense of disconnection makes it hard for our own children to understand their identities. The Ministry of Education has made direct links between a child's personal cultural identity and their self-worth. Being confident in their identity translates to a higher sense of self-worth. And I'm sure we all understand that knowing your self-worth makes you healthier. So by acknowledging our non-Māori heritage, we are better able to understand ourselves. We strengthen the strands of the rope that binds us together. And in the end, whānau, it's the same spiritual tightrope that my bicultural generation walk every day. If the strands are weak, the rope will snap, and who will catch us then? Accept that we are no longer a community of full-blooded Māori. Promote the learning of Pākehā and Tauiwi genealogy. Remember that we all belong to Papatūānuku. I mean, look at me. Have a long, hard look. I am Māori. I am Pākehā. I am a Mākehā.